In the center of Kentucky, we found the heart of America. We found a group of friends who embrace the timeless traditions of this land, handing down to each generation their love of God, country, family, and friends. Bonds that are fortified with days spent in the field, hunting, fishing, laughing, and living life to its fullest. Join us for the journey into the center of the Heartland heritage.
I am Tim Monacher. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, where I grew up stomping around the Appalachian Hills and with my dad, brothers, uncles, cousins, hunting, hiking, enjoying the outdoors like we all do. Was able to get to Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky University, on a scholarship for running, and really met some great, fantastic people in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area, and just really decided to stick around after college. After probably 3 months of searching and looking at different properties, found the property that we actually were able to get a hold of and we own today. The first year, the first fall at the farm in Owenton, really we kind of just wanted to get a really good inventory of what the wildlife was, what we could expect on the farm that year. We planted some clover, some winter food, beans and corn. And again, just really wanted to kind of get an inventory, see what we could expect years down, what was going to be possible.
I've gotten to the point of my hike where we have about 1.25 acres of eagle beans, and we've had it fenced off with a hot fence. You can see that right here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and not take it completely down, but I'm going to lay down a few areas, cut it open, get these deer in here. I'm not sure with our deer density that if these beans will be here in a month. You think that's kind of crazy, but we have way too many does. So we're really wanting to target a few big bucks that we do have on cameras in this bean field. It's a central part of the property, and we know that some of these big deer are bedding within probably 300 yards of here. So we're gonna try to make this work. If we get a few weeks into it and they're just destroying it too much and it's gone, I'll just put the fence back up. But all right, just got the hot fence turned off, and I'm gonna go out there and get some of this fence knocked down so these deer can get in here and start enjoying these beans.
You know, we just started running a bunch of cameras and seen a lot of great deer.
Actually just getting ready to go check the cards for the last time before the season opener tomorrow, and got the guys coming down tomorrow late morning, do a little bit more shooting just to tune up. Probably make some last minute decisions tomorrow on where we're going to go for the first evening. Definitely not hunting in the mornings. This is probably the whole first week. Just don't want to interrupt the bucks that we're targeting right now. So should be good. I'm anxious to see what's going on with these deer in the past week. I know they're losing their velvet anytime now. Some of them probably already have at this point, I would think. So it's going to be interesting to see what changes and patterns have taken place, if any. Let's hope not none. So.
This segment is brought to you by Burlington Family Chiropractic.
Actually, just getting ready to go check the cards for the last time before the season opener tomorrow. And got the guys coming down tomorrow late morning, do a little bit more shooting just to tune up, but probably make some last minute decisions tomorrow on where we're going to go for the first evening. 1,800 pictures.
You know, one of the things that we did when we bought the property was we knew that we were going to have to put in some food plots because there wasn't a whole lot of areas that we could plant.
We bulldozed this about 1.3 acres up on top of our back ridge. Sowed it with clover early this spring. Struggled a little bit at first. Temperatures dropped in July. Got a ton of rain. Thing just blew up.
We had a dozer come in, we had a guy, and he put 3 additional food plots in for us, really based on our neighbors, where their bedding areas were, where we knew we had to pull. We didn't want to be in the center of our property, so really strategically we put these food plots on the fringes, so to speak, of the property. And we wanted to eventually get the deer staying in the center of our property. That first year we had a deer on our farm that we named G1. His right brow tine really came swooping up real high and over, so we named him G1, which of course is the brow tines, is what people call them in Kentucky. We made the decision that first year that we were going to pass on that deer, G1, as well as 3 or 4 other deer.
Right along with Tim's passion and Jim's passion, your passion, we all have, you know, dedication to deer season and whatnot, the things that we love to do, but you know, Tim was after that G1 buck, and I think he had trail camera pictures of him all year long, as well as...
You watched him for a long time.
Oh yeah, just as well as I watched old Mr. Jones up there. I watched him for a whole summer.
We all
did. Day in and day out.
We knew that first year was really going to, again, be just taking inventory, harvesting some does. You know, if we got lucky during the rut and something that we would consider to be a shooter, very mature deer come through, then maybe we would try to harvest that deer. But that first year was just really, again, seeing what we could develop and hold on our property. And G1 was, at that point, we figured within the next 2 to 3 years would be a #1 hit lister for us.
An awesome feeling to watch that deer grow from nubs to the beast that he turned out to be.
We can see that.
And I watched him grow every day. And Tim did the same thing with his G1 buck.
You almost becomes a personal, it's almost like one of yours, your own.
Oh, it was the feeling of elation, the feeling of, I can't even tell you. That was my biggest buck to date, Mr. Jones.
when you pass on a buck that's 3.5 and it's much bigger deer than you've ever taken before in your life with any weapon, and it's extremely hard to do that, but really knowing, especially when you have a good genetic buck, what the potential is. It's difficult, but it ultimately pays dividends in the end, just as G1 did. Huge jump. All right. Today is the first Sunday of the Kentucky archery season, and we are going hunting for G1. Yesterday, actually, I opted out the first Saturday and decided to do a little filming with Jake Hughes, who is the son of Gene Hughes, one of my partners in the farm. Today, this evening, I didn't hunt this morning, wanted to stay out of the woods. This evening I'm going to a stand that I put up this morning after doing some quick scouting, and acorns are coming down like no other. Best mass crop I've seen in years, so I'm really looking forward to this hunt. It's a good spot, found it in between some primary bedding and where our plots are, so I feel confident that, confident that I'm going to get a good look at least maybe G1 or 2 or 3 other of our really nice mature deer. So obviously they're animals, you never know what's going to happen, but I think it's going to be a fun evening, so let's go out and see what happens. So that afternoon when I was walking into the stand after I had, a couple hours earlier put my stand up, I could only drive back in maybe a half mile, and then I had to walk another half mile to get to where my stand was, where I needed to be. And I felt real good that I was going to have an opportunity to see G1 actually on the hoof for the first time ever as a 4.5-year-old. Saw him the year before as a 3.5-year-old a couple of different times, but he had probably put on 35 inches of antler mass in 1 year. And I wasn't sure how that was going to look on the hoof. Obviously you see it on TV, I've got pictures of him on my cameras, but to actually see a deer of that size, it's pretty amazing. This is a beautiful day so far, but the weather is calling for possible showers. You look at the radar, definitely got some stuff coming in. But it's still nice and sunny and blue out. So we'll see. I think it's probably going to get dark here real soon because it looks like it's only about a half hour out. So anyhow, I'm going to try to get in and get set up and possibly even put up an umbrella just in case. So when I was walking in, and I just kept thinking, there's a good possibility that he's going to come walking up this trail. I just jumped 2 does that were literally bedded right down here, probably within 15-20 yards from my stand. And I will say that I was actually probably very, very lucky that acorns were falling, and that it took him probably about a half hour to get from when I first saw him to when I was able to pull my bow back, because it took me probably 30 minutes to get my heart rate down. So after I made the shot and realized that I just basically harvested the biggest buck of my life, I couldn't control myself. I was so excited. So I wanted to play back the footage, and I have it rolling on the Canon camera, and I got my cell phone out and I'm videoing the viewfinder of the camera, taking about a 9 or 10 second video, and I'm texting friends and I'm all excited. And ultimately after that, not even realizing it, I end up recording over the entire footage of that whole hunt, and the only thing that was salvaged was my cell phone video of the kill shot. Talk about wanting to kick myself in the butt on the biggest buck that I've ever taken or ever will take, and I pretty much just ruined the footage. So, you know, what do you get? You win some, you lose some, and you learn a lot as you go along, but lesson learned.
I just nailed G1, baby. 2 years in the making, 2 years.
To see him walk through the woods for the first time, it was almost spiritual. It really was, I'm not even joking. That deer was enormous. Mainframe 10 point, but has a 7.5 to 7 3/4 inch drop tine on the right side coming off the right main beam. He has split brow tines on his right G1 or brow tine that ultimately is 7.5 to 7 3/4 inches. So he had roughly 15 to 16 inches of abnormal points.
You know, he's one of those guys that he has patience of a god, you know. And for him to kill the G1 buck and then year after year have the patience to wait out and to hold on and to not settle, there's something to be said for that. And I think he's going to be a great addition to our team.
I agree.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bailey's Car Wash.
When you want to grow big deer, you want to manage the herd, manage your property for big deer, you're going to have to pass early on. And the year before, you know, we had a couple of opportunities to harvest G1, but we passed him, and I think that's what you have to do. You have to be willing to look down the road, the bigger picture.
All he calls us is, oh, it was there last night. Oh, I left and he showed up on my camera after that.
Yeah. I was full draw on this, but now I let him walk. You know, talk about 165-inch buck. You just let him walk.
Hard to do.
Chapow! It's over.
Yeah, that's crazy to say. You better be glad I wasn't behind him telling him that I wasn't filming.
Yeah, we know a little bit about that, don't we?
We know that, yeah.
when you see a buck of that magnitude, there's no question. You instantly know that you have a mature deer in front of you. I've been in this situation many times where you sit and you question, is that a shooter? Is he mature? You know, you go back and forth in your own mind. You sometimes maybe try to justify him being mature so you can, you know, take a shot at a deer. But you know for sure. You know for sure every hunter that's ever taken a big mature deer will know immediately, there's no question, it's time to stand up and get my bow ready. We have two really nice bucks targeted. Really nice 8-point. Pretty sure he's just a 3.5-year-old. I've seen him actually now on the hoof 3 different times. This is my fourth sit into this stand, and definitely not going to shoot him. If he makes it another year or two, he's going to be a monster. But we have this 10-point that we named Quarterback, for Zayden Hughes named Quarterback. And he's real nice. He's 4.5 years old, really wide, probably 20 inches, 21 inches. Not a booner, but he's probably 150s, maybe pushing 160s. And, you know, when I was telling those guys that, you know, I was really hoping that he was, you know, potentially a booner again, and, you know, up in the 170s or 160s, but he only was 156 inches. You know, of course, Jimmy's throwing up his arms, and he's, oh, that's terrible, Tim. You know, you only can shoot 156, inch buck every year, you know, or bigger. But I guess you kind of get a little bit spoiled when you have decent-sized bucks, you know, well over 150 every year. But again, that just goes back to passing those young ones and following the script of what your, you know, the ultimate plan for the farm is.
I got in really early today. Temperatures are dropped. Wind's kind of swirling down in here, so it's going to be questionable. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll get lucky tonight. It's only a matter of time till this big boy pops up in the daylight again. So hopefully he comes strolling through, munching on these acorns with every other deer in the county that seems to be in here except for him.
So the first deer in that night was the 8-point that I had seen and passed up numerous times, and which was really odd in itself. He was acting weird, seemed like he was really nervous, was looking around a lot more than he was eating, just real bizarre activity. And he kept pacing back and forth over to the edge of this hill, looking down in this thicket, and, you know, just like he was waiting for someone else to come up in there, whether it be to, you know, maybe, you know, spar a little bit, or he just didn't want to be in the area. But ultimately, it's what I thought. Quarterback was in the area, and as soon as he showed himself, that 8-point was gone. Quarterback was with a doe, and, you know, and maybe he was already starting to really not just mark his territory, but really get into a little bit more aggressive sparring. So 8-point took off, and Quarterback came in, and the rest is history. I've been in this situation many times where you sit and you question, is that a shooter? Is he mature? You know, you go back and forth in your own mind. You sometimes maybe try to justify him being mature so you can, you know, take a shot at a deer. But you know for sure. You know for sure every hunter that's ever taken a big mature deer will know immediately, there's no question, it's time to stand up and get my bow ready. And that's exactly what I felt as soon as I saw him. I knew it instantly.
Watched the footage, and I definitely hit him low and a little back. I'm just gonna have to back out. And I'll go look at the footage again, get my buddy Tony Dempsey to look at the footage. I'm gonna grab my arrow and see if there's any blood on it. I could see that I hit him. He bucked, took off, ran about 15, 20 yards, stopped, looked around, and then slowly walked over the hill. Dang it.
He shot him a little bit back in the liver, but we all know.
Makes for a long night.
It makes for a long night. There's no worse feeling in the world to know possibly that animal is out there wounded, hurting, struggling. It's a sleepless night for all of us. Anybody that has ever put a shot on a deer like that and not knowing.
Yeah, not much rest goes on that night.
No.
I mean, especially when you got to back out and go in the next day.
There's nothing worse.
Yeah.
It's a very, very sleepless night.
Unfortunately, this is kind of bittersweet. We found this deer roughly about 48 hours after I shot it. Made actually a poor shot. Surprisingly enough, he only ended up being about 110 yards away from where I hit him, and we just couldn't see him. We couldn't find him because he didn't bleed. Actually found him today via buzzards. So luckily we got him. You always want to keep looking. We looked hard, many, many hours to find this deer. It just didn't pan out until today. So I'm proud to have him. I'm proud to have found him.